Welcome back to Golden Fortune Leo, the channel where astrology stops wearing glitter and starts speaking the language of real life. Here we don't predict your week with vague promises or talk about planets as if they're vending machines of fate. We talk about the mind, the heart, and the mysterious dance between free will and destiny. Today's message for Leo is titled The Awakening Fire, When the World Doubts Your Light. It's not a love story, though love is hidden in every sentence. It's a story about belief, about remembering your truth when the world calls you crazy for it, and about rediscovering that beautiful roar that life once told you to quiet down. There's a peculiar hush before a Leo awakens to real power. It's not peace, it's pressure. It's the kind of silence you feel before thunder rolls across the horizon. You can sense it somewhere inside your ribs, as if the universe is waiting for you to stop pretending you're small. You may have felt it lately in the way time bends around you, how coincidences seem too specific to ignore, how your instincts are suddenly more accurate than logic. Perhaps you've noticed patterns, songs that repeat, lights flickering when a memory crosses your mind, dreams that echo things yet to happen. You've probably wondered if you're imagining it, or worse, if you're losing your mind. But you're not losing it, Leo. You're remembering it. Every Leo eventually faces a season where brilliance becomes a burden. People love your radiance but misread your silence. They adore your strength yet underestimate how much it costs you to carry that armor every day. You've been the performer scanning faces for sincerity, the friend who gives warmth to those who never learn to return it. Now, you're at the crossroads between reason and revelation. The universe isn't just hinting anymore, it's practically shouting through synchronicity. Your calling isn't to chase attention, it's to embody alignment. The old you wanted to be seen, the evolved you wants to be understood. The cards may speak in symbols, but their message is practical. The High Priestess and the Empress, ancient archetypes of wisdom and creation, are not just figures from myth. They represent the merging of intuition and compassion, knowing and nurturing. This isn't about gender but about energy. The High Priestess whispers to your inner knowing, the Empress teaches you how to give it form in the world. Together, they remind you that enlightenment isn't learned, it's remembered. What you're experiencing, this sudden clarity, the pull toward deeper meaning, is a reawakening of spiritual inheritance. Your insight, your empathy, your ability to sense what's unsaid, these are not accidents. They are muscles of the soul, developed over lifetimes. Yet every gift arrives wrapped in a test, and yours, Leo, is judgment. You've been surrounded by voices that dismiss your intuition, people who think your faith in signs and energy is childish or delusional. You try to explain, but their logic builds a wall where your heart builds a window. It's exhausting, isn't it? The constant effort to defend something that you know by feeling, not by proof. The tragedy of the modern age is that we confuse skepticism with intelligence. But there is nothing smart about cynicism when it shuts the door on wonder. The greatest minds, Einstein included, called intuition sacred. The problem is not that you believe too much, it's that others have forgotten how to believe at all. You, Leo, were born with a different wiring. The same fire that makes you charming also makes you restless when life becomes too ordinary. You crave meaning like oxygen. You can't live on surface-level small talk or jobs that ask you to dim your light. That's not arrogance, that's authenticity. When you suppress your instincts to make others comfortable, your inner fire doesn't die, it just smokes quietly until it chokes the joy out of your days. So if lately you've felt drained or disconnected, it's because you've been trying to make your truth sound polite. Stop that. The universe isn't hiring saints of silence. It's time to reclaim your weirdness, your wildness, your wisdom. The world doesn't need another filtered face, it needs the roar of people who have stopped apologizing for being awake. The moment you stop seeking validation from those who cannot understand your vision, the energy that was trapped in their approval returns to you tenfold. It's almost comedic when you think about it, all that power waiting behind a door labeled "What will they think?" Spoiler alert, they're already thinking something. Let them. Meanwhile, you have galaxies to build. There's a subtle humor in how life tests us. The people who mock spirituality often become the ones who secretly ask you for advice years later. The ones who rolled their eyes at your tarot cards will be the first to text you when their world starts falling apart. It's not revenge, it's irony with perfect timing. And maybe that's how cosmic justice works, through poetic humor rather than punishment. So what now? You keep walking. You go with the flow, but not like a leaf being tossed by water, like a river that knows its destination even when it curves. Spiritual surrender isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the ability to say, I don't know what's next, but I know myself enough to meet it. The more you trust that rhythm, the more the world rearranges itself around your truth. Opportunities, people, and places start aligning in patterns too precise to be random. That's not coincidence, that's choreography. And as you move into the year of triumph 2025, remember that this isn't about external victory. It's about internal sovereignty. The true chosen ones are not those who win every battle, they are the ones who keep their hearts open while the world grows cynical. They forgive faster, rise slower but stronger, and laugh at their scars because they know even pain is temporary employment for the soul. Leo, your awakening is not a crisis, it's a coronation. The thunder you hear isn't warning you, it's announcing you. The silence before it breaks isn't emptiness, it's reverence. You are not here to convince the world of your light, you are here to remember it so completely that the world has no choice but to see it. And if someone tells you you're crazy for believing in signs, smile and tell them you prefer the term cosmically informed. After all, when you're guided by the universe, you can afford to have a sense of humor. The stars do. There comes a time in every Leo's life when the loudest roar is not a sound at all, it's the quiet decision to stop apologizing for existing. You know the kind of person I'm talking about, the one who thinks being rational is a personality trait. Maybe it's a parent who told you to stop being dramatic, a teacher who said your dreams weren't practical, or a friend who can't stand it when the conversation gets spiritual. They laugh at words like energy, destiny, and intuition, claiming they live in the real world, as if their version of reality came with a warranty. You tried to explain yourself once, maybe twice, but their smirk was louder than any sentence you could finish. So, you did what too many bright souls do, you folded your light until it could fit in their shadow, thinking that peace and acceptance meant silence. But peace built on suppression is not peace, it's just a prettier cage. Let's be clear, you were never designed to play small. If someone's words made you doubt your instincts, it says more about their fear than your flaw. Skeptics, in truth, are rarely brave. They cling to what can be measured because they're terrified of what can't. They live by equations that explain everything except the human heart. You, on the other hand, were born to sense what numbers can't articulate. Your sensitivity isn't a weakness, it's a highly calibrated radar for truth. It's how you know something's wrong before it collapses, how you can feel the tension in a room before anyone speaks. People might call you dramatic, but it's only because you notice the storm before they hear the thunder. And isn't it funny how the same people who mock your energy talk are the ones calling you at midnight for advice they don't really believe in? They may not understand how you know what you know, but they know you know it. Your presence has gravity, Leo. You don't even have to speak to make an impact. You walk into a room and the emotional temperature shifts by a few degrees. Even when you try to blend in, your energy stands out like sunlight in a conference room. That's the cosmic joke of being a Leo, you can't hide brilliance behind small talk. For too long, you tried to rationalize your intuition. You labeled your instincts as coincidence, called your insights lucky guesses, and swallowed your truth to maintain harmony. But harmony achieved through self-denial isn't harmony, it's emotional debt. You owe yourself an apology for every time you made your soul shrink to make someone else comfortable. The good news? The universe keeps perfect records. Every doubt, every dismissed feeling, every time you second-guessed your light because someone made you feel foolish, it was all logged in cosmic accounting. And now, in the year of triumph 2025, the universe is processing your karmic refund. Interest included. The energy you gave away in shame is on its way back to you in confidence, clarity, and creative fire. That's not wishful thinking, that's cause and effect dressed in spiritual clothing. Now, let's talk about the battlefield of the heart, the Sacred Disagreement. The cards that appear in your energy: 5 of Wands, Temperance reversed, 7 of Wands, Dante, Worn of Chaos, they announce awakening. Conflict is not always destruction, sometimes it's the friction that polishes your strength. You've been walking on eggshells around someone who thrives on control, someone whose affection feels like a performance review. Maybe it's the parent who says, "I only want what's best for you," but what they really mean is, "I only trust what I understand." Or it's the partner who calls your dreams unrealistic but never asks what keeps you alive. Or maybe it's a boss who praises your talent right after questioning your worth. These people aren't villains, they're mirrors, showing you the limits of conditional love. They'll never understand that your purpose isn't measured in paychecks or productivity reports. Your success won't fit in spreadsheets because it's not designed to. You're part of a new generation of souls, the chosen ones who define success not by applause but by authenticity. You're here to show that meaning matters more than medals, that joy is a higher currency than approval. And in the year of triumph 2025, this isn't a phase, it's a paradigm shift. The world is starving for truth, and your unfiltered light is the medicine. The irony is that medicine doesn't always taste sweet. Healing demands honesty, and honesty threatens control. So when your truth stirs discomfort in others, it's not because you're wrong, it's because their comfort depends on your silence. Here's where the Leo wisdom comes in: confrontation doesn't require fury. You don't need to shout to be powerful. Sometimes your stillness speaks louder than their noise. The lion doesn't announce its hunt, it simply moves, and the savannah trembles. Let your silence be that kind of power. You no longer have to explain your intuition, justify your path, or apologize for your gifts. Those who mock you today will quote you tomorrow. Those who question your choices will one day envy your peace. The Sacred Disagreement is not about winning, it's about witnessing. When you face those who cannot meet you where you are, you're being invited to see how far you've come. It's not your job to convince them to believe in energy, it's your job to embody it so fully that belief becomes irrelevant. You can't argue someone into consciousness. But you can live in such integrity that your existence becomes evidence. So yes, Leo, silence when necessary, speak when it matters, and smile often enough to confuse your critics. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your joy, your faith, or your vision. Let them call it irrational. After all, gravity was once called superstition until someone proved it kept us grounded. Your truth will do the same, it will pull everything real back toward you. Among all the symbols that could have surfaced in your reading, the image of the ghost in the mirror is perhaps the most revealing. It is haunting not because it speaks of the supernatural, but because it speaks of the deeply human. Every Leo has a ghost like that, the reflection of your unexpressed self, the version of you that stayed behind when the world told you to grow up, to stop dreaming, to become sensible. It's the poet you silenced because poetry didn't pay the bills, the dancer you abandoned because someone laughed, the instinct you stopped trusting because logic seemed safer. That ghost doesn't want to scare you, it wants to be seen. It has been standing patiently in the background of your life, waiting for you to make eye contact again, waiting for acknowledgement. The truth is, Leos aren't afraid of darkness. What truly unnerves you is being unseen inside it. You can walk through chaos, heartbreak, and confusion as long as you know someone notices your courage. But lately, you've been giving all your light away, lighting up everyone else's rooms while letting your own altar gather dust. You've been the sun warming everyone else's garden but forgetting to water your own. The mirror, that quiet and merciless teacher, is now asking you to come home. It's asking you to look without makeup, without performance, without excuses, and see the real face behind the roar. This is where real spiritual practice begins, not in exotic rituals or expensive retreats, but in the simple act of stillness. Meditation, painting, prayer, or even the brave decision to sit alone with your feelings without trying to fix them, that's the beginning of awakening. You're not losing control, Leo. You're finally letting go of the illusion that control was ever the point. The flow you're being guided toward isn't about surrendering to chaos, it's about trusting divine choreography. Letting go isn't giving up, it's bowing to the wisdom of timing. It's realizing that every detour you've cursed was a cosmic reroute. You weren't delayed, you were being refined. The universe has better GPS than you do, it just doesn't announce recalculations with your preferred level of politeness. And while you're learning to trust that rhythm, you're also breaking an ancient spell, the spell of judgment. If your life has felt like a tug-of-war between logic and intuition, you're in good company. Every spiritually awake soul knows this tension. Society conditions us to worship data, not energy, to trust credentials, not consciousness. Yet consciousness doesn't need a diploma, and intuition never applied for a degree. The judgment card in reverse, the one sitting stubbornly in your spread, is the universe's reminder that authority isn't the same as truth. People mistake volume for wisdom all the time. The loudest voice in your head may sound like your mother's disappointment, your ex's cynicism, or your coworker's sarcasm, but it's still just noise. You've internalized too many borrowed opinions, carried too many second-hand fears. Not everyone who loves you understands you, and not everyone who understands you knows how to love you. That's not tragedy, it's just emotional physics. Some people only see as far as their own insecurities allow. The task of 2025 is to stop auditioning for their approval. Stop explaining your calling to people who haven't even read the script of their own life. You don't need to justify why you believe in synchronicities or divine timing, you're simply fluent in the subtler languages of the universe. Others will catch up later or they won't. History is full of prophets who were laughed at before they were quoted. So when the world doubts your fire, don't dim it to prove them wrong. Just keep burning. Doubt is evidence of your visibility. When people squint at your light, it's not an insult, it's confirmation you're shining brightly enough to require sunglasses. That's when your role starts to shift from performer to priestess, from entertainer to healer. Leos are natural performers, charisma runs through your bloodstream, but lately the stage feels different. You're no longer performing for applause, you're channeling for truth. That's what awakening does, it turns showmanship into service. The Empress energy hovering around your reading represents not glamour but grace. You might notice how easily people confide in you, how strangers tell you their secrets in grocery lines, how you can sense pain behind smiles without being told. That's not accident, it's initiation. You've been entrusted with emotional X-ray vision, the ability to see what others conceal. And yes, it's unnerving. You may worry that you're imagining it, or that you'll fail to help. But here's the cosmic joke, your uncertainty is part of your qualification. Ego loves confidence, truth loves humility. The fact that you question your readiness means you're ready. You've already done the hardest part, keeping your empathy alive in a cynical world. That is spiritual nobility, the kind that doesn't need crowns because compassion itself is coronation. The path ahead may call you into roles you didn't expect: teacher, counselor, creator, guide. Whether you heal with words, art, humor, or presence, your job isn't to fix people but to remind them of their own light. You don't have to chase purpose, you have to live it. So when doors seem slow to open, remember, divine timing is not Amazon Prime. The package arrives when you're actually home to receive it. Trust the delay. The silence you hear isn't rejection, it's the universe rearranging the set behind the curtain. The mirror that once haunted you now becomes your mentor. Look at it again. The ghost staring back isn't your past, it's your potential, waiting patiently for your permission to live again. And if all else fails, laugh at the absurdity of it all. Spiritual growth, like good comedy, works best when you stop taking yourself too seriously. After all, even enlightenment appreciates a sense of humor. Forgiveness is one of those words that people throw around so casually it almost loses meaning, like self-care or no offense. Yet, when you look closely, forgiveness is one of the most radical acts of freedom available to a human being. It's not about letting someone off the hook, it's about unhooking yourself from the chain you've been dragging behind you for years. Resentment, as I often tell my students of astrology and psychology, is a form of gravity. It keeps your wings folded. Every time you replay a conversation that hurt you, every time you rehearse the insult or the betrayal, you are reliving not their cruelty but your own captivity. Forgiveness doesn't mean erasing memory, it means stopping the rehearsal of pain. It's the moment you look at the ashes and decide not to rebuild the fire. Leo, you are ruled by the sun, and the sun never apologizes for melting what no longer serves the landscape. When you cling to resentment, you dim your own light. When you forgive, you return to your natural radiance. The sun shines because it burns, and so must you burn the bitterness, not as destruction but as purification. Forgive the skeptic who laughed at your dreams, forgive the critic who mistook your confidence for arrogance, forgive even the younger version of yourself who doubted her own magic. That version of you was surviving the best she could with the information she had. You've outgrown her now, and holding a grudge against your past self is like yelling at a child for not knowing calculus. When you release that heaviness, something extraordinary happens, your intuition sharpens. The fog lifts. Suddenly, coincidences are not coincidences anymore, they're choreography. You'll notice numbers aligning on receipts, dreams echoing reality, people crossing your path precisely when you need them. It's not witchcraft, it's resonance. As your vibration rises, you stop attracting lessons and start attracting alignment. The universe is no longer a chaotic playground of random chance, it becomes a collaborator, a creative partner with impeccable timing. This rising frequency leads us directly into the year of triumph 2025, a chapter of reclamation for every Leo who has spent years dimming their flame for the comfort of others. The theme of this year is not reinvention but return, the return of your voice, your confidence, and your spiritual authority. The world already has enough polished influencers, it doesn't need another curated persona. What it needs is your genuine fire, the kind that warms people without setting them ablaze. Leos who have been misunderstood or ridiculed for being too much will step forward as what I like to call spiritual leaders in disguise. You won't need titles or robes, your presence will be enough. Your intuition, once a whisper, will become a reliable GPS, firm, clear, and occasionally sarcastic. Every no you heard in 2024 will reveal itself as a redirection, not rejection. And here's the cosmic punchline: the very people who doubted you, who dismissed your ideas or mocked your faith in energy and meaning, will eventually circle back for guidance. They'll phrase it politely, of course I've been thinking about what you said that one time, as if it's a casual follow-up instead of a full spiritual U-turn. When they do, forgive them, but remember your own boundary. Forgiveness doesn't require you to hand them the remote control of your light. You can welcome them into your orbit, but you are not required to dim for their comfort. The golden rule for 2025 is deceptively simple: Do not explain your fire to those who only know smoke. Now, since we're talking about Leos, we must allow a little humor to slip through. After all, enlightenment without laughter is just another form of ego. If someone insists that your talk of energy and vibration is nonsense, smile and tell them, "That's fine, my vibes are prepaid, not postpaid." If your family keeps reminding you to get a real job, tell them you're in cosmic customer service, helping people file emotional returns for their karmic baggage. Humor, you see, is a sacred tool. It breaks the spell of heaviness faster than any mantra. The universe, contrary to popular belief, has an impeccable sense of humor. You can see it in how life always delivers irony with perfect timing. Just when you stop looking for love, it walks in wearing your favorite color. Just when you think you've mastered patience, you get stuck behind the world's slowest driver. The lesson? Don't take the play too seriously. Even the Buddha laughed, and he understood suffering better than anyone. The key to magnetism is not effort but joy. When your laughter is genuine, your aura expands, you draw people in without trying. Leo's laughter, specifically, has healing properties. It vibrates like sunlight through stained glass, bright and honest and impossible to fake. You've always known how to make others laugh, but now the task is deeper. Learn to laugh with yourself. Laugh at your mistakes, your misplaced pride, your overthinking. Every chuckle becomes a release valve for the ego, and every giggle invites the universe to join in the rhythm of your freedom. Forgiveness and humor, strange as it sounds, are twin flames. One clears the heart, the other lightens it. Together, they create the space where intuition can thrive and joy can take root. You're not being asked to become a saint, Leo. You're being asked to become real to life so fully that your light stops needing justification. The world will adjust its eyes eventually. Until then, forgive often, laugh loudly, and remember that even when everything feels uncertain, the sun never wonders if it should rise. It just does. And so should you. At the beginning of this reading, the message was simple: go with the flow. But like most truths worth living by, it comes with a twist. You are not a leaf drifting down some indifferent river. You are the river. You are the current that decides where to turn, when to slow, and when to rush toward the sea. Going with the flow doesn't mean surrendering your will, it means synchronizing your will with something larger, wiser, and infinitely more creative than control. It's not passivity, it's participation. It's learning to move in rhythm with divine timing instead of wrestling against it. The universe isn't trying to break your plans, it's trying to choreograph your purpose. Every detour, every delay, every unexpected bend is not chaos, it's choreography written by a hand that sees further than yours. Over the next few months, life may surprise you with new directions, career shifts that nudge you towards something more meaningful, emotional clarity that finally replaces confusion with calm, or perhaps a spiritual mentor or community that feels uncannily like home. The spiritual or religious community card is not just a suggestion, it's an invitation to find your tribe, the people who speak your soul's native language. When you connect with them, you'll recognize yourself in their laughter, their resilience, and their sincerity. You'll finally understand that your intuition was never a glitch in your logic, it was a compass tuned to a frequency that others are only beginning to hear. Leos often struggle with the idea of soft power. You're used to leadership through presence, action, and performance. But in this next phase, your leadership will be quieter, more magnetic than commanding. Sensitivity will become your superpower. Compassion will be your charisma. And humor, your eternal charm, will keep you from taking the grand opera of life too seriously. Remember, being in the flow doesn't mean drifting without direction. It means trusting that you can float without fear, steer without strain, and laugh when the current splashes you in the face. When you embrace this kind of flow, life stops feeling like an exam you can fail and starts feeling like a dance you can improvise. The difference between control and flow is awareness. One tries to force the rhythm, the other learns to feel it. And Leo, you were born to feel. Your light isn't a theory, it's an experience for anyone lucky enough to stand near you. It's not up for debate or negotiation. It's destiny. So here's the final revelation, the one most Leos eventually discover: your greatness was never about applause. The stage lights were only ever metaphors for your inner sun. You don't need an audience to be radiant, you simply need to remember that light, by nature, doesn't compete, it illuminates. The high priestess within you already knows what's next, she listens before she acts. The empress within you has already forgiven, she understands that holding resentment is like trying to water flowers with poison. And the Leo within you, that eternal flame, is rising again, calmer this time, no longer obsessed with being admired, more devoted to being authentic. You've walked through misunderstanding and emerged with compassion, which is the rarest form of wisdom. That's divine maturity, the point at which you stop needing others to validate your worth and start enjoying the privilege of being yourself. The world will still talk, of course. People will always have opinions about your light. But when the world questions your path, let them. Smile like someone who knows the map was drawn inside them all along. You've got galaxies to build, ideas to birth, lives to touch, and laughter to share. In the end, your greatest power is not merely to shine but to awaken others by daring to keep your own fire alive. You are both the torch and the reminder that light exists. So take this as your cue to live more deeply, laugh more loudly, and forgive more freely. Celebrate the strange, beautiful, unpredictable rhythm of your own story. Don't wait for permission, don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment begins when you decide to live as if you were already free. So, Leo, as you step into your next chapter, enjoy it. Live it like it's your favorite song playing at full volume. Let your light spill everywhere. And when the world looks your way, because it will, meet it with that signature Leo grin that says, "Yes, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be." If this message spoke to your heart, remember to share it with those who might need the reminder that their fire still burns. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with me here on Golden Fortune Leo, where we don't just read the stars, we learn how to live with them. Until next time, keep shining, keep laughing, and above all, keep flowing.